So well-informed academic conversations provide students with opportunities for multiple exposure to academic vocabulary and discourse, repetition of ideas, verbal rehearsal to improve memory in writing, collaborate, critical thinking opportunities, or cooperative learning, and building the content connections and fostering inner dialogue and self-talk. So the article split them up into ELL and student disabilities, how to help both of them. So for ELL is what they start with, English language learners. Researchers have identified various instructional strategies that are effective in helping English language learners. This is cooperative learning, active applied knowledge, use of native language, and understanding of English language development skills. So for cooperating learning, students need to hear how words are spoken. So if you're working with someone else, they can help you, or you can listen to how they're saying things. Like in the classroom when we're reading sight words on the board, it might say get, and someone might say geeked. But when they keep hearing get, they will eventually get to that and they'll say get. And then, so they'll hear how sentence structures work, and they'll develop a deeper understanding of the content through this cooperative learning. They need to activate their prior knowledge. So with already having a language, they already have some prior knowledge of a language. So you can use that cultural experience and shared experience that they had to help them make critical connections between the experiences and their new learning. So it'll be easier for them to engage in conversations if they were using a familiar topic. Same with the use of native language. They can tap into their native language to connect a deeper understanding with the material. And then English language development, they need time to become proficient in English because they've never heard of it probably really much before. So they need time to learn it, just as we would need time to learn a different language like Spanish or Korean or Mandarin or anything. We need time to process and learn a different setup than we have. Teachers need to utilize their understanding of students' language proficiency to strategically create academic conversation partners. And then this is how you would do academic conversations with students with disabilities. They need lots of supports so they can access them. They need to be able to face all the challenges and that result from their disability. They might have delays in recall of content, limited academic vocabulary, inability to use complex grammatical structures or syntax, and a lack of understanding of academic discourse. These logistic challenges may hinder students from engaging within these conversations and oral presentations because they might not be able to understand or access those ideas. It just takes them a little bit longer to do these things. But with supports and helps them sequence these events and contents, they might be able to access and do these conversations. So first, we need to recall the knowledge. Conversations are quick back and forth. Someone's asking something, someone needs to quickly recall their knowledge to respond to them. And since it's unknown, it's kind of hard to, help them. So we need to help students with disabilities who struggle with recalling use their knowledge of the content. So we might need to give them more time to access those back and forth changes to prompt and engage them. Vocabulary might be hard because they know fewer words than their peers because they might not be engaging in these conversations, so they don't hear all these new words that we've been hearing. They struggle with the ability to generate new words within like a situation, content, conversation. They have a limited depth of what those words mean, so they might use words out of context or in the wrong context, and this prevents them from speaking like the standards say. They want precision and clarity, so they are not meeting those standards. Grammatical understanding, students often display grammatical errors, including incorrect verb endings, fragmented sentences and phrasings. They tend to find structural and syntactical structures particularly challenging, So especially within content area reading, it's a lot harder. And then academic discourse, an understanding and application of a larger bodies of language related to the academic discipline is essential for college and career-ready students. Students with disabilities may not understand these text structures, which will negatively affect their ability to produce that coherent speech, which is aligned with the academic discipline. So we need to scaffold. That's the main thing out of this journal article, that you need to scaffold academic conversations. Because each conversation, it has like a sequence that you need to prompt and lead the students through the procession of knowledge. I made a little chart. You can see scaffolding academic conversations. We need vocabulary first, recall of content, and discourse and cohesion. These prompts are carefully sequenced from a low to high inference and are narrowly focused in leading students to a summative speaking task. So first they're prompted to discuss the knowledge of academic vocabulary. So students need to be able to recall and understand vocabulary terms in depth. They need to use them within the context correctly. The academic conversation prompts their prior knowledge of the words. So you could ask students like, what do you think a beverage is? And they'd be like, oh, well, I don't know. What would a beverage be? And then you could be like, oh, well, water's one. And they'd be like, oh, maybe like a juice box or a Capri Sun. And then you'd be like, yeah, like milk and orange juice. And then they can keep going, and that's connecting, like, oh, I've had a juice box the other day. And that they would relate that to a beverage. And they'd be like, okay, a beverage is that juice box. And you can use this through systematic mapping. So you can ask students to identify experiences with their vocab so they have more of a knowledge of what those words might be. And the goal is to have a support so they can comfortably speak and understand these words. And you can even have students use these words in their native language and identify them in the other language. So they're like, in English, beverage is this, but in Spanish it was refresco or whatever it might be, depending on your language. Then we need to, second, recall content knowledge. So students talk about what they have to learn as a result of instruction. What did they learn, basically? So it's focused on summative speaking task, and it serves as an opportunity to activate students' prior knowledge of the content. It also includes graphic organizers to help students see the relationships in their learning and to organize their thinking. You use a structured talk to aid this recall of this knowledge, and then you deepen their understanding so they can focus on the recall and understand. And you can encourage them and allow them to use their own language throughout it, especially in the graphic organizer, so they can understand the material, and then when they have to transfer it, they can transfer it to the other language when talking. But just to help them get their ideas down. So graphic organizers are a main part of this. They help them discuss and better understand the content, and they help them gather their thoughts to access prior knowledge so that when they're talking it can come out easier. And then academic discourse and cohesion devices is the last one. The purpose of this convention is for students to first present their ideas in a logical manner, and it is present in those ideas by using coherent devices to align the manner and format of the academic discipline. So again, we'll use graphic organizers to help students structure their ideas in an organized way, leading to student outcomes. The goal is to present organized discourse. The student may have to retell or summarize, and everything is broken down to help a student better understand and to see how the order of events might have occurred. They are now being asked to present their ideas in an organized way and align them with academic language in that discipline. Revoicing is a strategy that you may use as well. It has a lot of repetition, clarification, extensions, and teachers use this to model academic discourse. Why are any of these things important? You might be asking at the end of this. Approximately 11% of students are identified with learning disabilities and are non-native English speakers. So they have their English language learners and they have a disability. So that's 11% of students. That's a lot. It's like basically almost 1/4 of the population. So it's kind of high. So we need to be thinking about them and understanding and knowing a little bit more of how we may help them. And we need to scaffold, like I said, with this to help them out. And we need students to be able to become part of society and be individuals who can effectively communicate and learn from one another, to articulate their thoughts and ideas and to listen and decipher and see the knowledge and values and intentions and communicate effectively with diverse communities. And that makes sure everyone is connectively together. Well, thank you for listening, and I hope you will build up those communication skills. See ya!